It's the greatest loss of life on the planet. I'm Ethan Gutmann. I'm a senior fellow in China Studies at the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation in Washington, D.C., and I'm an author. The new book is called The Xinjiang Procedure. My last book was called The Slaughter. I was actually interested in writing a book on the conflict between the Chinese state and Falun Gong. I wanted to write something that was real. I wanted to write something that got away from the rhetoric. In the process of that, I did the only thing I really like to do, which is field work. Then later on in Canada, I ran into three witnesses who'd just come over, they're refugees. One of them was really from the country, though. At one point, she mentions, yeah, they were torturing me, and then they took me and gave me a medical exam. And I'm kind of like, okay. And then she starts going on with her story. And I was just like, hang on, let's go back to this interview, please, because that's kind of interesting. And I guess what really got me was that she looked at me like, you're such an idiot. You're such a white idiot from the West, and you don't get it, do you? You know, I'm talking about torture, torment, things you've never experienced, and you want to talk about a medical exam. And that's what got me, because the medical exam was so clearly aimed at her organs and nothing else. It was retail organs only, all the way. There was no rationale for the exam. That was when the chill went down, went up my spine, and I suddenly realized this is real. Over time, I've heard now that story from Tibetan, and I've heard it from many, many Uyghurs. This is harvesting at scale. It's of certain populations. The ideal prisoner who you want to harvest in China is 28 years old, approximately 29, maybe as low as 26, as high as 35. It's in that range, but 28 is ideal because that number comes up again and again and again with witnesses, and especially the Uyghurs. If you are 28 years old, you are at the peak of your physical powers and the peak of your mental powers. And to the Chinese state, that's a great danger. Along the way, what they tried to do was rationalize the system, put it into a smaller number of hospitals so there'd be less chatter, right? And it would be less of a gold rush climate. The Transplantation Society took that reform to mean they're going to reform. They're going to make the system better. It's going to make it, they're going to clean it up. No, that's not what it meant. What reform meant to the Chinese was, we're going to take it away from, we're going to take it easy with Falun Gong, and we're going to turn to a population which is much more isolated. And that would be the Uyghurs and the Cossacks. It's a very easy to shut off that region of China. You can shut down the internet there. You can shut down the exit and entry points. You can shut down all the information spread. And you can shut down people from moving through any of those borders. And very, very few Uyghurs have made it out. It is, on my estimate, coming back, and these are very hard-fought numbers, but is that 25,000 to 50,000 Uyghurs and Cossacks are being harvested for their organs, age 28 or about thereabouts, every year. And that's been going on. It's now going to come into the 8th year. So we're looking at a minimum of 200,000 people. And the maximum of 400,000. We're nearly at 500,000 now. Now that figure is very comparable to what happened to Falun Gong. We don't know the total number of Falun Gong that were harvested. We know there was an explosion in the transplant centers that tracks the incarceration of Falun Gong. This is a terrible tragedy. It's catastrophic. And it's been going on, and they're getting away with it because they have money, the Chinese. What the tragedy for Falun Gong is that they may hate the CCP, and they should, given what the CCP has done. But they love China. And they are caught in this terrible task of trying to roll a boulder uphill, of trying to change China from without, from the position of the diaspora. And this is the reason why I always keep faith keep connections with Falun Gong, because I share one thing with them. I'm very stubborn, and they're very stubborn, and I think we share that in common. I'm very happy to have worked with both Uyghurs and Falun Gong over the years. It's been a high point in my life.
My name is Rosy Orozco, a former congresswoman from Mexico who fought against the cartels and human trafficking. This year, we are launching the Heroes Wanted campaign, shining a light on extraordinary people fighting in the front lines.
So go to kaleido.charity/heroeswanted, watch their stories to help amplify their impact, and vote for the hero who inspires you the most.